the problem with seeing things as they are is that a lot of stuff in life is designed to fuck you over and to control you and to manipulate you into doing things and thinking things that you hadn't planned on doing. That could be films or marketing or commercials or podcasts or books or Instagram pages. It's all designed to take it like control of your consciousness and get you to have a reaction. And so like for some reason, like I talk about those things whenever they're appropriate or whenever they are obvious, because it's like I want people to be aware that they're being manipulated. And it's like, and manipulated may sound like a word with a lot of teeth in it, but like even if you're looking at Instagram and you're looking at like some writers whose stuff is like really great and powerful, you're like, this is amazing. Like I love this. I look for their posts every day. It's like, that's great, but you're being manipulated in a way because that person's putting out stuff to eventually sell you something. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Like they're going to offer you a book, they're going to offer you whatever, whatever they got. But it's like, just to be aware that there's multiple dimensions of things happening all the time is good because it helps you have more freedom because you become more of a, sovereign being amongst a really complicated, like consciousness controlling society.
There's so much going on at all times. And it's particularly when you open an app or particularly like even when you go to the grocery store, it's like there's so much happening below our level of understanding in any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
What have you found to be the best ways to increase your understanding of what's going on, even though you really can't, like you can't understand when a trailer is going on, how that's influencing you in specific ways, and like how do you reconcile all of that?
Yeah, I think, well, to what we were talking about a second ago, like it's no accident that Jeff Bezos owns the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch owns Fox and Elon bought Twitter.
Yeah.
They're trying to buy the control of perception.
Yeah.
Because they can, those huge platforms are putting out the tone of like human consciousness because so many eyeballs are on those things in the way that any of them shape those things to generate and magnify culture and meaning and importance has a effect, an entraining effect upon the awareness of millions and hundreds of millions of people that are looking at it. So they're like, it's like, if you control perception, you control reality. That's it. And so that's what they're doing. That's what everyone's doing. But how do you fight against that? Presence is so powerful because if you're more self-aware and you're less distracted by the noise of your own life, you see things as they're happening with a lot more clarity. So like if you mentioned seeing like an advertisement or something like that, like normally perhaps if you're busy and you're on your phone and you're doing this and like whatever, and the advertisement happens and you're like, okay, it just kind of gets like logged in your brain and whatever. But if you are aware, like, oh, there's an advertisement that's trying to get me to feel this or do whatever, like really it's probably trying to get me to have an emotional reaction based on something from my childhood that I can't quite define, so that I'll associate that emotional feeling with whatever stupid fucking product that they have, so that eventually later I'll forget I saw the ad, but then have that feeling still when I see the product next time and then buy it because I want to feel safe like I'm at home. Like that's the function of most of that type of stuff. But being aware that they're trying to get that to happen to you is just kind of important because you can stop it in its tracks. Unfortunately for me, I don't feel any emotions. So,
were there any examples of like that happening in your own life where you noticed it? You noticed that advertisement was leading to a trigger from something from your childhood?
Oh, I mean, like 100 times a day.
Oh, really? Like, you noticed it? Like what's...
Yeah, it's just a textural part of existence. It's like everything around us is always in people too. That's the other fun thing is like, say you go into a place like before I would get an espresso at the coffee shop next door before I came in here. And it's like I walk in there and I see like everyone is responding to everyone else's like is time zone. So like people are moving and like noticing each other and positioning themselves in relationship to other people. And some people aren't. Some people are taking up more space. You know, some people's body language changes. Their chest expands. You know, they may get taller. They may shrink into themselves. Their eyes, you know, they look down. They make eye contact. They have, you know, scattered, you know, focus in their eyes. And it's like everyone's just sort of constantly doing that dance with each other too, you know, and it's really interesting to watch. I find it interesting.
Like, what do you learn from that? Like watching all that?
Well, you can, I mean, it's just kind of, it's fascinating that you learn like a couple of, I mean, one thing is that you see unconscious and subconscious behavior on an animal level, which is really fascinating. But then you see conscious behavior of people like trying to fulfill the story of themselves in each moment as well. Ooh. To like hold on to the attached sense of like who they need to be in that moment to preserve the safety of identity, you know? I mean, all those things are really interesting to me. And I'm very like naturally anti-authority. I have this real problem with authority because I want everyone to just like be free, you know, within themselves. And so I like to try and I've spent a lot of time trying to get that stuff out of myself because I want like to be free. Like the authority, I don't want to be under the authority of my own mind.
Well, you also don't want to be under the authority of being anti-authority.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because isn't that its own authority? Like,
absolutely.
I'm this person who is anti-authoritarian and I don't want you to have control over me. So I'm going to say that
yeah, totally.
It's like a circle in a way. It can be.
Absolutely.
How do you release that?
Yeah, yeah. I just try and step out of it, you know, so it's like you don't put any energy into working against it or working like with it. And so you just can, that's why I'm comfortable with silence for 15 minutes because it's like I've just worked with that so much that it's like, well, let's just sit here and be, you know.